Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Okay, jetzt nicht mehr. Jetzt sieht er nicht mehr so aus.
Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
So, das ist jemand anderes.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
Ja.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear Doctor.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives, how she survives, whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox, the stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Der Typ ist irgendwie komisch.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
Braucht er denn?
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind
Gegen
is more
Erkältung.
important than
Ja,
my
es regnet ja
physical
auch und er hat
health.
nur ein Hemd an, ne?
But I appreciate your concern.
Kann passieren, dass man da erkältet. Okay.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Some of us come to this world already touched by
Ah. Da ist Camellia. Camellia. Ich weiß, der Text geht eigentlich anders. Aber der passte gerade. Blumenstrauß. Ein kleiner Blumenstrauß. Ein Gutschein für eine kostenlose medizinische Untersuchung ist zwischen den Blumen versteckt. Oh. Ist das so geil? Ich weiß nicht. Haben wir sowas nicht schon mal gesehen?
I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sie ist
I
ja
know
stumm.
what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. You don't seem to need my medical attention for now. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Aber sie bewegt sich so, als würde sie reden. Das ist total geil. Nur dass der Mund halt zu ist, ne? Erzähl mir von Richard Nethergott. Alles klar.
Tell me about Richard Nethergott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well.
Okay.
Goodbye then.
Komme ich eigentlich in die Kirche rein? Nee. Ein kleiner Blumenstrauß. Ein Gutschein für eine kostenlose medizinische Untersuchung ist darin versteckt. Okay. Unbekannt. Wer bist du denn?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
Mhm.
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
Ja, das stimmt.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Okay. Clayton will, dass die Zeitungen die Wahrheit über die Situation in Whitechapel drucken. Tina Popper. Ach, das ist die freiberufliche, ne? Wenn ich mich nicht irre. Oh, er braucht was gegen Erschöpfung.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
That science is unable to explain the facts doesn't mean there is no rational explanation.
I confess, I share your point of view, Doctor.
Okay.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Okay. Das war's.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Tina Popper und der Pfarrer. Das ist da unten auch kein Schwein interessiert, ne? Dass ich hier hin und her hüpfe. Irgendwie spannend.
It's locked.
It's locked. Stand die nicht eben noch woanders?
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
No.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Haben wir noch was gegen Erschöpfung? Ich hoffe ja. Ja. Ja, haben wir noch.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Sehr schön.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
I'm cheap and I'm...
Ich bin günstig und sauber. Ja, Mensch, das freut mich ja. Wieso geht er da nicht hoch? Weil ich Ja, schade. Nicht wundern, du sperrst. Ja, alles gut, mach mal. Mach das mal. Dankeschön. So, ich will mal noch einmal in Unterschlupf gehen. Und dann eigentlich... Ah. Hier war das, nee, hier war das nicht. Ah. So, das waren alle, sagst du. Ja. Triple Zocker YouTube, Dankeschön für dein Raid und herzlich willkommen an alle, die dazugestoßen sind. Hattet ihr einen schönen Abend, meine Lieben? Ich hoffe ja. So, wir werden davon nochmal 2 benötigen. Davon ein, davon auch. Oh. Bronchitis. Achso, das war Bronchitis. Ja, das geht noch. Das geht noch. Und nun wünsche ich auch weiterhin viel Spaß. Dankeschön, André. Kurzes Reinschneiden ist ja auch manchmal ganz angenehm, ne? So. Jetzt würde ich sagen, wir haben genug rumgelungert und folgen jetzt mal der Hauptmission noch mal ein bisschen. Ich glaube auch, dass hier soweit jetzt alle verpflegt sind, ne? Ja, gegen Migräne haben wir leider nichts. Und die kennen wir noch nicht. Schmerzen haben wir auch nichts. Blutarmut, Erkältung, Erschöpfung und Erkältung. Die Dogs. Die Frage ist, wollen wir noch mal schnell an die Docks zurückrennen, oder? Nee, komm, wir riskieren es nicht. Wir machen jetzt mal Hauptmission hier ein bisschen. So. Ich glaube, hier sind wir noch gar nicht weitergegangen, ne? Ne. Wir klären erstmal. Sehr gut. Da ist noch ein boshafter Skull. Ah, verdammt, zu früh. Nein! So, sehr gut. Okay, eine große Bestie scheint da unterwegs zu sein. Bin ich noch in Whitechapel jetzt? Ja. Aber nicht da, wo ich eigentlich hin will, ne? Nö. Jared Lewis. Achso, das ist die Richtung einfach nur. Was haben wir hier noch? Warum komme ich... Ich verstehe nicht, dass ich an manchen Orten hoch kann und an manchen nicht. Leute, wenn schon, denn schon, oder nicht? Aber gut, aber gut.
I cannot enter.
Wir betreten mal dieses Gebäude.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now.
I don't think so.
Bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Der steht auch so komisch. Gott, was macht die denn?
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
Ah ja.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Ja, mit denen haben wir auch schon gesprochen. Oh, der hat eine Bronchitis. Okay. Und dafür, dass er für eine Ärztin arbeitet. Spannend. Okay, er ist die rechte Hand von Dorothy Crane. Don't be afraid. So. Christina Popper. Clayton. Wo ist Clayton? Und jetzt lungert der da hinten rum, oder was?
Pay me a
Hallo.
glass and I'll be gentle. Pay me a bottle.
Judged for your sins. Even now, he judges your words and actions.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
Okay.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nithercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nithercott?
Okay, mit dem haben wir auch schon gesprochen.
Around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Ja, well. Ich glaube, hier sind wir falsch. Ich sollte vielleicht hier oben einfach lang gehen. Das wäre noch eine Möglichkeit.